Let's get out to the guys calling the game for you, Joe Buck and Tom Verducci. Gentlemen.
They just don't like each other, Rob. Let's go back to Sunday, end of a 10-game losing streak for the Red Sox. Frustration, typical baseball fight. Benches clear, shoving, I don't like you, no punches. Last night, latest chapter of this stuff. David Ortiz gets drilled by David Price, first inning. David Price didn't like David Ortiz's home run trot last year during the playoffs, so why not hit him? It's just fun. What happens tonight? We're about to find out on Baseball Night in America. It's Game 2 of this weekend three-game set between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. That is Tom Verducci. Kenny Rosenthal come up in just a bit. All right, we've seen all the video. It's been talked about all day. These guys are chirping again today. The question is not if, but when something happens here tonight, in my mind. Do you agree?
I can't wait. Yeah, I mean, listen, we talk about rivalry. Sometimes it's a matter of geography, some ancient history. This is a rivalry because they don't like each other. The comments by Ortiz last night, the comments by David Price today. Listen, when these two teams get together, it's a long game, it's a close game, 5 games decided by 1 run, and something always happens that you don't expect. I can't wait to find out what's happening.
Yeah, it's going to happen here tonight, but now we look at the standings, and here's why, as we are about to turn the calendar to June, it's important for these two clubs to figure something out. Now, the Red Sox lost 10 in a row. They've now won 5 straight. But these are the bottom 2 teams in the East, and you got to get past the whole it's early stuff.
Well, yeah, I think that's actually added to this rivalry because there's urgency here at the end of May for both of these teams. You play 1/3 of your schedule below 500. You lost your room for error. That means there's urgency now here as the calendar turns to June, especially for Tampa Bay, last place in a season-long 4-game losing streak.
Let's turn the calendar back to last October. These are 2 playoff clubs from a year ago. The Tampa Bay Rays, the Boston Red Sox, they won it all. But it's been a frustrating start to this season so far, and now they get together on a Saturday night at Fenway Park. Baseball Night in America. The action comes your way next on Fox. Is brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. David DeJesus leads it off. He's the DH. Ben Zobrist is back. He's the shortstop tonight, batting second. Then Matt Joyce, Evan Longoria cleans up. James Loney at first. Desmond Jennings, Kevin Kiermaier is in right. Sean Rodriguez is the second baseman, and it's Ali Solis doing the catching, batting the number 9 spot. And here's Ruby De La Rosa, the hard-throwing right-hander, formerly of the Dodgers organization, set to go, just called up, getting the ball tonight.
First career start at Fenway Park. We'll see upper 90s velocity.
His first pitch is outside for ball 1. DeJesus has taken over that DH spot for Tampa Bay. The Rays check in 8.5 games out at the start of the day behind Toronto, while Boston is 6 out. They lost 10 straight. They've won 5 in a row, and now because of injuries in their rotation, it's De La Rosa who finds the strike zone to make it 2-1.
Well, finding the strike zone is going to be the key for him, especially early in the game. And the one issue with De La Rosa is throwing enough strikes.
Here's a 2-1. 2-2.
So far, all fastballs from De La Rosa. You'll see the slider, and you'll see a changeup. Good changeup. But vast majority of his pitches are going to be good, hard, four-seam fastballs.
Juan Nieves, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, watching this 25-year-old right-hander bring it. It's outside a full count. So pitch number 6 will be a 3-2 delivery, as De La Rosa takes the spot of Clay Buchholz, who is out on the disabled list with a hyperextended left knee. 3-2 pitch, got him on the outside corner, 1 away. And that's the way we start on a Saturday night at Fenway.
And that is a very good sign to command the changeup on the 3-2 pitch. First batter of the game, first career start at Fenway. It shows you he's got his legs underneath him, feeling good.
Lincoln Motor Company, keys to the game here tonight.
And I'm going to say the early part of the game, Red Sox really need to control it, especially for De La Rosa to control his emotions. For the Rays, they need power out of Evan Longoria. And the rest of this lineup, Joe, they just have not hit for extra bases this year the way they thought they would. 25th in Major League Baseball in slugging percentage coming into this game, and this guy right here is a big part of that.
Zobrist back off the disabled list, just kind of flips at it into left field, easy for Johnny Gomes, 2 out. If you listen to the pregame show, you heard Ken Rosenthal talk about the fact that there were no warnings issued prior to the start of play here tonight. That's an important aspect to this game. Last night, as we've talked about, and it's been talked about around baseball certainly all day, and any sports show that you would turn on, the drilling of David Ortiz by David Price last night, which obviously upset not just Ortiz, but that man, John Farrell, this Red Sox ball club. And then the warning came immediately after Price hit Ortiz, and that in essence took the ability, if you ask the Red Sox, away from Boston to retaliate and basically protect their own player. There was some thought, we talked about it with John Farrell, that there could be a warning handed out prior to the start of play here tonight. That wasn't. So if there's some retribution or payback by Boston, there's a little bit more of a free path toward that for De La Rosa here early.
Slightly more, and I think John Farrell actually might have expected an official warning to be issued, but Ted Barrett spoke to both managers and said, listen, no official warning, but I know the history here. We all know the history here. Something of a double secret probation.
Jeff Kellogg, who was the crew chief of this group of umpires, left for personal reasons, and Ted Barrett came in, a veteran umpire, and he gets the plate instead of one of the younger guys who are on the bases, Rayburn, Woodring, and Bellino, who was behind the plate last night. And so it's Barrett who's in. As you heard Tom Verducci say, he told the managers he's aware of what's going on, as was Jeff Kellogg and this crew coming into the action last night, which was another part of John Farrell's argument. If they knew that there was something that could boil over, why not eject David Price when he hit David Ortiz in the first inning, which would have been well within the rights of the home plate umpire Dan Bellino.
Yeah, I think Dan Bellino could have, because I think a lot of people, especially David Ortiz, looked at that pitch as intentional, and given the heightened atmosphere, why not? And I'll tell you why not.
A strikeout ends the inning, and that'll do it for the Rays in the first. Good start for Ruby De La Rosa. Red Sox coming up. They've won 5 straight after a half no score. Odorizzi, 24 years old, from Illinois, getting the ball tonight. The starting lineup for the Red Sox brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Brock Holt has been a godsend in the top spot in the order. He's at third base. Then Xander Bogaerts, A.J. Pierzynski, David Ortiz, Mike Carp at first, Johnny Gomes in left, Grady Sizemore in right, Jackie Bradley Jr. in center, and Jonathan Herrera bats ninth at second. Dustin Pedroia injured his right hand in last night's game, and so he is off tonight. When we met with the Red Sox prior to the game, he was on his way to get an MRI. The initial x-rays were negative. Here's the right-hander Odorizzi.
Jake's your typical 4-pitch pitcher, but he really does a very good job of using all those pitches in different counts. It's all about never giving a pattern to hitters with Jake Odorizzi.
First up is Brock Holt, the former Pittsburgh Pirate, now in his second year with the Red Sox, and he's been good. He's really filled a void that was left when Jacoby Ellsbury headed to the Bronx for the Yankees. And being in that top spot in the order as the count evens at a ball and a strike.
Yeah, he's been real good, as you mentioned, filling that top spot in the order, because he really grinds out at bats. Like to see a lot of pitches. He's been very good against left-handers as well as right-handers.
That's outside. 2 balls and a strike. Bogaerts will follow. Plenty to say about the 21-year-old. And then A.J. Pierzynski against Odorizzi, who's been very good over his last 4 starts. Here is his 2-1. Hard hit right side. Loney to his right and to the bag, 1 out. And that'll bring in Bogaerts, who has been absolutely red hot, who is the shortstop now, but that's going to change come Monday when Stephen Drew is back for the ball club he played with last year that won it all, after signing that deal after the start of the season.
He's been red hot ever since they signed J.D. Drew. I got a kick early before the game. He was out there taking extra work defensively at shortstop. He's only got a couple more days before he has to go over to third base, but you know how it is with a shortstop. It's like quarterbacks and point guards. It's always going to be in their heart.
Does not want to give it up, but will slide over to his right. And that's where we saw him last year during the postseason at third base. So this red-hot hitter, 21 years old, Xander Bogaerts, who's hitting .304. That's number 1 among American League rookies. Took a strike, and now a ball. Saw Pierzynski on deck. He's the guy that ended it last night in the 10th inning with a game-winning triple. That's down and away, and the count 2-1.
We talked about Ortiz and mixing up his pitches. The difference maker for him this year, one of those 4 pitches, he picked up a split changeup. It's really the pitch that Alex Cobb uses as his wipeout pitch. He actually threw it a little bit too much early in the season.
That is a rocket into left. It's going to bang off the green monster, and Bogaerts is going to cruise into second base with a 1-out double. How good is this guy going to be?
Wow. I mean, he's got a little bit of young Alex Rodriguez and a little bit of Manny Machado in this swing here. Long arms, but quick to the ball. Turning into more of a pull hitter. That may be a function of playing in this ballpark than he was in the minor leagues. But he has just been on everything for these last 2 weeks.
He actually admitted that playing here at Fenway Park, that wall, I mean, it's got to creep into the head of any hitter as A.J. Pierzynski digs in. And what John Farrell said is when Bogaerts is at his best, it's when he's driving the ball into right center. That ball was a laser off the wall and left. He's at second, 1 out. And the Red Sox, who've won 5 straight, have Pierzynski up, and he takes a strike. AJ's been an Iron Man behind the plate 13 straight years, catching 100 or more games. That is tied for the most ever. And he should be all alone with 14 by the end of this year. Odorizzi steps off as Pierzynski, who got RBI number 26 here last night. The game-winning triple into right center field, waits for an 0-1. Ball and a strike. Here it is.
And he was disappointed in this. How can you be disappointed? Well, he's never had an inside the park home run. And obviously he's thinking 4, but he only needs 3 because that gets the winning run home.
First year with the Red Sox. That's off the end of the bat. And on one hop toward the seats, and now in the hole is Pierzynski, 1-2.
And on that play, you saw that collision between Desmond Jennings and Will Myers. Will Myers not in the lineup today because of that collision. He actually smacked his right hand down on the ground during that collision. And you can see there he's got the splints on the hand.
Odorizzi ready with the 1-2. That gets away from Solis. And over to third is Bogaerts with 1 out. And that could very well be a pass ball.
You know, this just runs away from Solis, down and away. Actually might be scored a wild pitch because it bounced, but just the movement there. Solis was unable to get his body in front of it.
Right now, Joe Maddon's club is playing without Ryan Hanigan. They ruled out a wild pitch. Solis couldn't corral that ball that was running down and away from A.J. Pierzynski. So Jose Molina getting the night off tonight. He'll get the start tomorrow, as they don't want to overwork the veteran Molina. Now the RBI chance is easier, but a strikeout and a big one for Odorizzi.
And that's that split changeup we talked about. Watch the action down and away, moving away from Pierzynski. That's his go-to pitch in that spot. He'll throw that to right-handers. He'll throw that to left-handers.
And now David Ortiz, who was right in the middle of all of it for the Red Sox here last night. Then he had his comments after the game, and we'll get into some of this as the game goes on. if we get the opportunity. And I thought maybe the most interesting soundbite with a runner at third here, 2 out, came from him, David Price, before tonight's game with Ken Rosenthal. Ball 1 upstairs.
I thought he was very dismissive, I'll use that word, referring to David Ortiz. And I think it's surprising, Joe, because it's the day after. You know, it's not heat of the moment. You have time to think about what you want to say. You don't even have to do an interview if you don't want. That's a message he wanted to deliver to David Ortiz.
Runner at third, 2 out. Ortiz waits and unloads, fouls it back. A ball and a strike. In essence, David Price saying that at times David Ortiz looks like he thinks he's bigger than the game. Obviously, Ortiz beloved here in Boston for 100 reasons. One of the most clutch players in the game, and he has adopted this city. It has adopted him. That's in for a strike, and now Ortiz in the hole at 1-2.
Let's see if he goes back to that split change again. That's a pitch. If he's behind in the count, he can throw it in the zone for a strike. If he's ahead on the count, as he is here, he'll throw it again down and away to the left-hander.
This time Solis gets on top of it. The count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's Mike Karp in the lineup behind Ortiz, providing the protection for the DH. Which was another part of the quote from David Price, calling Ortiz a guy who will go down as probably the best DH in the history of that position. No argument here, but a strikeout ends the inning. And after putting a runner at third, the Red Sox cannot drive home Bogaerts after 1 on a cold night in Boston. No score. Is sponsored by Taco Bell Breakfast. Wake up, live Moss. We move into the second inning, a scoreless game. Ruby De La Rosa, a good start, 2 strikeouts in the first. And now he will deal with the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Tampa Bay: Longoria, Loney, and Jennings. And here is Evan Longoria, a guy who's been a player that the Tampa Bay Rays have been able to rely on for a slugging percentage around 500 year after year. He's under 400 at this point, and they need him to pick it up. Hitting .265, 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. This Rays team is led by Sean Rodriguez with his 6 home runs.
Not really an everyday player. That's usually not a good sign. See there, 1 home run on the road this year. Talking to Joe Madden, he thought a few weeks ago Evan may have figured out a little mechanical flaw in his swing. He's got that trigger mechanism where he likes to dip that bat before he gets into the groove of his swing.
What a start to this game for De La Rosa. 4 batters faced, 3 strikeouts, and there's 1 out here in the second.
Yeah, there's a reason why a lot of teams coveted this arm here. De La Rosa showing good command of his secondary pitches early in this game.
The Red Sox have a lot of young pitching on the horizon. Not only did De La Rosa come over from the Dodgers in that trade back in 2012 as Loney stands in, he came, James Loney, former Dodger, came to the Boston Red Sox, and now he's with Tampa Bay for his 2nd year. But a guy, Alan Webster, who may be considered the better prospect, came with De La Rosa in that trade. But De La Rosa deals, and Loney flies one into center. Back is Bradley in front of the wall for out number 2. But it's a pretty good list, Tom Verducci, and De La Rosa's on it. But he is not alone with a good young pitching on the horizon for Boston.
Yeah, actually they had some choices here. Webster was online, could have made this start. You see all sort of in their mid-20s where you start to knock on the door to get yourself a job in the big leagues. The question is, what will be De La Rosa's job? What will be his role long term? There's a split camp among the Red Sox. They think he could wind up at the back end of the bullpen.
Well, he's obviously got that light up a radar gun stuff with mid to upper 90s on the fastball. He's making his first major league start since pitching for the Dodgers at the end of July in 2011. Sat out 2012 recovering from Tommy John surgery. First base hit of the night for Tampa Bay belongs to Desmond Jennings, who started this season really well, has tapered off since, but right back up the middle for a 2-out single.
Pretty simple delivery. Just gather and go. That's very nice balance throughout the delivery. Long arm swing. You see how far that ball dropped down by his knee. You'll see with Odorizzi is more of a short arm guy where the ball stays close to the body. With De La Rosa, he's got that long, fluid arm swing to get the ball up.
Now Kiermaier called up for the 3rd time this season, getting a chance to start because of that injury to Will Myers in the right hand. And a guy who was a low round draft pick is somebody who his manager Joe Madden called one of the 4 best outfielders in the game today, the way he can run. And Madden not scared to put him in a very tough defensive spot on the road here at Fenway Park in right.
I think it's the toughest right field in all of baseball.
Outside, a ball and a strike.
We saw Grady Sizemore last night have an issue with the wall as it starts to carom and hug that sweeping corner deep in the right field corner. A lot of room to cover, but also a lot of caroms to cover as well. You see all that space out there in the angles.
Here's a 1-1. Reaching for it, line drive, base hit, right center field. Jennings will go first to third as Sizemore gets it back in. A base hit for Kiermaier, and it's 2 on, 2 out for the Rays here in the second.
It's just a nice job of hitting it on the changeup. Kept his hands back enough. The body was leaking, but the hands stayed back to barrel it up just over the glove of Herrera. Nice piece of hitting right there. It's a little harder changeup right there by De La Rosa at 90.
And so now Sean Rodriguez, who's had a nice week with 2 pinch hit 3-run home runs for Tampa Bay to go into that total of 6 to lead this club, 20 RBIs. Gets a chance with runners at the corners and 2 out. 79 at bats, hitting .241. Over but low, ball 1. Rodriguez picked up from the Angels. He was the player to be named later And the Scott Kazmir trade back in 2009, and he calls himself a throw-in. He's been a valuable part of this ball club, can play all over. And he's come up with some big hits.
With pride, he calls himself a throw-in, of
Why
course. Not? Give Joe Madden some credit on that, too, because he remembered, as his days coaching there at the Angels, Sean Rodriguez coming up in their system. And he is a Joe Madden type of player, very versatile player. Today playing second base, could play anywhere basically on the field.
So Rodriguez trying to put the Rays on top. They jumped on top here last night. Out in front of it is Rodriguez, fooled on the pitch, and the count 2-1.
And once again, he's behind on the count. Throw the changeup. That's a fastball swing. He's reading fastball all the way 2-0, and whoops, ball's not there yet. You see the downward break on it as well. Nice pitch selection, better pitch execution.
Now at 2-1. 2-2. Opportunity for De La Rosa. The Red Sox have Felix Doubront on the disabled list. Joined this past week by Clay Buchholz. And they don't know which comes first for Buchholz. Is it a mechanical issue? Is it a confidence issue? Whatever it is, after starting the season off last year where he was basically unbeatable, he's been wild. ERA over 7 to start this year. Crowd into it on 2-2. Full count.
That is a mystery about Mr. Buchholz. It's going to take some time to figure out because his stuff is very short right now. He needs a break.
Here is a 3-2 runner at first, takes off, and that's hard hit. Diving stop, throw across, inning over. What a play by Holt. Took a hit, took an RBI away, and ends the top of the second. How good has Holt been for the Red Sox? De La Rosa appreciates it. 1.5, no score. Company, this is where a new conversation begins. Beautiful night in Boston. It is chilly, a little windy, but no rain. Fans, you can visit homerunchallenge.org to make a pledge for every home run hit during the week of Father's Day, June 9th to the 15th. Fans can also visit the website to make a direct donation or sign up to receive more information about prostate cancer and being proactive about their health. We're joined in the booth as the bottom of the second inning is underway, and Mike Karp stands in, strike one on a foul ball, back to the screen by Michael Milken, who has spearheaded this effort. There's Michael, and they've called it Keep Dad in the Game, and it's the home run challenge, which we've talked about, and baseball, as Karp is hit by the pitch, which will obviously get a reaction here from the fans. Got no reaction from Karp as that one got away from Odorizzi. We'll take a look, and then we'll hear from Michael. Is this one a breaking ball? Just caught him on the right lower leg, and obviously no intent from the young Odorizzi on that. All right, so Michael, let's go. Keep Dad in the Game and your home run challenge. Tell the folks about it.
15 years. Starts on June 9th through June 15th. Every home run hit in Major League Baseball raises money for prostate cancer, and we've raised $45 million from these home runs that have been hit over the years.
Here's Gomes. He takes the pitch up and away, and prostate cancer is something that you battled earlier in your life.
I was diagnosed in 1993. They gave me 18 months to live, and I'm obviously the happiest guy to be in Fenway tonight, 21 years later.
And in what we've talked about every year is Gomes waits for another and now gets under one. A pop-up on the infield for the shortstop. That's Zobrist. It's 1 on, 1 out. It's all about early detection, and early detection really obviously raises the possibility of beating prostate cancer.
I think, Joe, as you know, there's two parts. There's early detection, and for prostate cancer, there's that simple blood test which allows you to know early whether you have prostate cancer. We wish that every cancer or every life-threatening disease had a simple test. And then the second thing is new drugs that have been approved, 6 of them since we started the Home Run Challenge, that for people that fail surgery or fail radiation have given them new hope and new life today.
Batter is Grady Sizemore, who fouls one out of play, and that's strike one.
And so for the people that have not had their prostate cancer discovered early, or their initial therapies haven't worked today, there are now drugs, and probably 25% of people that used to pass away now lead normal lives, greatly due to the money we've raised from these home runs and just the tremendous support from Fox, from yourself, from Major League Baseball. And you have 2 teams on the field. The home runs they've hit over the years, we've raised over $4 million just from the Red Sox and the Rays.
So again, fans can go online, can make a pledge, and when home runs are hit during the week of Father's Day, the cash register keeps ringing.
It does, and considering 1 in 6 men in America will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime versus 1 in 8 women for breast cancer, the enormous advances in cancer research over the last 20 years give hope to all of us. And today there's probably 15 million people in America who've had some form of cancer that are living normal, full lives, and the cancer is not going to affect their life expectancy one bit.
There's the website, homerunchallenge.org, as we talk it over with Michael Milken here in the second inning. Rays and Red Sox, 1 on, 1 out. 1-2 pitch is smothered by Solis, and the count 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What a beautiful night here in Boston to watch a ball game. One of the great ballparks. I've had the luxury of trying to shag balls in front of the Green Monster. It's a dangerous thing during
it is
during batting practice.
And I'm sure the thrill of a lifetime.
It is. But you have a beautiful stadium there in St. Louis also.
Here's a 2-2 pitch, slapped at and fouled left side. Still 2-2 on Sizemore, who's picked it up of late. Missed 2 years because of injury. Finally back in the big leagues. Last time we saw him was 2011. Had some great years in Cleveland. 4 years of 20 or more home runs, 20 or more stolen bases. He could do it all. But injuries, especially to the knees, slowed him. Got a chance at spring training with Boston, and he made the most of it. Runner at first, one out. A 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and that's out number 2 and strikeout number 3 for Odorizzi. You come to these ballparks, and I think back in years past where we've gotten a chance to visit at Yankee Stadium, and Joe Torre, who had been through prostate cancer, Dusty Baker.
That is correct, Joe.
Who had been through prostate cancer and lived to tell and come out the other side of it. And so the cooperation, as you mentioned, with Major League Baseball, I think has been unprecedented.
And the concept, the original concept of come out to the ball game with your dad, your neighbor, your coworker, and remind them to get checked for prostate cancer. You know, this is one of the few sports where you can come out here and enjoy the game. And one of the things we discovered with prostate cancer is vitamin D, a little sun, actually reduces your probability of getting prostate cancer. So you can accomplish it all at that ballpark. A little vitamin D, reminding your friend to get checked, and watch a fantastic ball game.
But you do want to promote the use of sunscreen.
We do, but 20 minutes a day works very, very well. And there's many of the therapies that started with prostate cancer later have been used, and one of those you brought up here in sunscreen is melanoma. And one of those immunology efforts turned out to work for melanoma but not for prostate cancer, but it's been a real breakthrough for melanoma. So when you fund research for cancer, it might affect numerous cancers, not just one form of cancer. But as you know, most men don't visit the doctor as much as a woman, and so this is a real reminder in our efforts here with the Home Run Challenge. And in this area in Boston, we've probably invested almost $50 million in the centers at Mass General, Dana-Farber, Brigham, the Koch Institute, the Broad Institute, Harvard Medical School. And Tampa has a fabulous cancer center, the Moffitt Cancer Center there in Tampa.
Well, it's touched a lot of lives, and now you have, with what you've been able to do, help keep Dad in the game as Jackie Bradley Jr. strikes out. Michael, thank you, buddy. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep, we'll see you next year.
Good health to you.
Yeah, back at you. Keep on rolling. That's Michael Milken. Back to Boston after a word from your local Fox station after 2. No score.
attached to it. I do know this. These are two very competitive teams. There might be some frustration shared on both sides, given
Celebrate the new season with Chevrolet. Share your excitement using #TheNew. Third inning rolls in, no score. Good pitching so far with De La Rosa and Odorizzi, and the first pitch swung on and missed by Ali Solis from Mexicali, Mexico. Was with San Diego for a short while, got called up when Ryan Hannigan went on the disabled list with a bad hamstring, as De La Rosa makes him look bad with that pitch in the hole in a blink, 0-2.
He's hitting just 186 in AAA. That's a call up out of necessity, as you mentioned, with Hannigan going down.
That's going to get somebody out of the dugout from the training staff for the Rays. This ball goes off the shin protector of A.J. Pierzynski right into the nose of Solis.
Wow, and A.J. immediately mentioned for the medical people to come out and take a look at him. So it looked like that ball may have caught home plate and then ricocheted off A.J. Pierzynski and into Solis.
So while they look at Solis, we'll go to Rob Stone in the studio for a game break. All right, thank you, Rob. They're still looking at Solis. We'll keep you updated with what's going on with the Dodger game as the night goes on. Joe Maddon's trying to get a night off for Jose Molina. Solis, that ball, when you watch it in slow motion, just hit the nose and the cheek area of Solis. You know, obviously he's trying to stay in the ball game, but this, just hard to watch. Checking it for a break, obviously, and Solis, who's up at the plate for the first time as a Tampa Bay Ray.
Well, as you mentioned, they've been using Jose Molina quite a bit, tomorrow being a day game. He was going to get either tonight or tomorrow off. Just in case you're wondering, the third emergency catcher for Tampa Bay would be Sean Rodriguez.
Well, you'd have to think the decision's coming soon as to whether Solis is going to come out of this ball game or if they think he's okay to continue, as De La Rosa is trying to stay loose while they check on Ali.
Well, we see catchers get hit all the time. In fact, Molina took a really bad foul ball direct hit off the mask earlier in the week. Had to be checked out for concussion, but you don't expect this in the batter's box to be struck by a pitch in the nose.
So you get to the point, if you're Ted Barrett, who's the crew chief, where you have to get a decision here at some point soon, like now.
Looks like they're going to make a change here. Joe Maddon signaling to the dugout for Molina.
So Molina's going to pull the sweatshirt off. Going to go up and inherit a 1-2 count. And Solis is finished for the rest of the day, and I'm sure headed for an X-ray machine. Nice hand by the fans here at Fenway Park, and Molina will not get the off night he expected when he came to the park here on Saturday. So even more of a delay, as Molina didn't even really prepare to come up to the plate while all that was going on until the decision was made. So gives us more time to talk about the history between these two organizations and the bad blood that exists goes back to the year 2000. Pedro Martinez hitting Gerald Williams, and Ken Rosenthal talked about what is now a bitter rivalry with manager John Farrell before tonight's game.
I don't know if bitter is a word to attach to it. I do know this: these are two very competitive teams. There might be some frustration shared on both sides, given injuries the teams have dealt with, our place in the standings that exists to date. We've got a lot of playoff history against one another, and there's been highly competitive games played, which we fully expect to be the case again tonight. So there'll be some intensity as we fully anticipate every series that we enter with Tampa. We respect them as opponent, and yet my personal concern is our players and how we go about to execute a game plan, and ultimately, and that includes protecting one another.
So we'll see if there's another chapter written here tonight. You get the feeling there will be before the end of the evening after what transpired last night. You see John Farrell, what a year last year, installed as the manager, was here before that as the pitching coach as Molina takes ball 2 outside, 2-2. And they went from worst to first, won it all, winning it here at Fenway Park in Game 6. Here's the next. That's strike 3, and that's out number 1 here in the 3rd inning. And after that long delay, credit De La Rosa with keeping his concentration and eventually ringing up strikeout number 4.
Probably ran up his pitch count a little bit, though, trying to stay warm during the delay. You know, I did want to go back to, I teased you back in the 1st inning about David Price on why he was not thrown out of the game. When it did look intentional throwing at David Ortiz, certainly the Red Sox believed that to be the case. I think if that pitch is up around his head, he probably is thrown out of the game. But I think within the code of the game, David Price has impeccable control, has the best control of anybody in the American League this season, and he showed that with that pitch to Ortiz. In other words, it was right behind the back. If you want to hit somebody, you don't want to go upstairs, but that area right behind the back, a hitter, his natural reaction is to move back away from the ball, and therefore he's going to move into the ball. Here's the pitch I'm talking about to Ortiz. That is exactly where David Price wanted to throw that pitch. And I think if it was upstairs around the head, he might have got tossed from the game. Remember, you're talking about David Price, former Cy Young winner. It's the 1st inning of the game. Young umpire behind the plate. I think that all adds up to giving him the benefit of the doubt.
0-2 the count on De Jesus, and now 2 hopper to the second baseman Herrera, 2 out. And so 2 out in the inning. Zobrist will be the hitter. Well, there's so many facets to what went on last night. You think about the history, and we'll maybe not get into it video-wise with what's gone on since August of 2000 and that Pedro Gerald Williams meeting at the mound, which was memorable. Here's a fly ball into left, pretty well hit off the bat of Zobrist and off the wall. Zobrist has got a 2-out double. A leap by Johnny Gomes, and he missed it. Slaps at his glove. Might have had a chance at this ball as it went off the side of his glove.
Yeah, he probably had 1, maybe 2 more steps that he did not think he had. He can feel the track underneath him. You see, he's got a little bit more room to take another step to get farther back. Comes very close, but that's a good sign for the Rays to see Zobrist going the other way, especially. That's only his 2nd opposite field hit from the left-hand side. For a guy who hasn't hit for a lot of power, he certainly does need to use the entire field.
Zobrist was hurt middle of May, a dislocated left thumb, back in the number 2 spot. It bothers him hitting right-handed more than it does left-handed. That double the opposite way keeps the inning alive for Matt Joyce. And De La Rosa gives a look back at second base. Joyce was hitting .364 through the 25th of April, hitting only .221 since with 8 RBIs. He's got a chance here in the 3rd inning to put the Rays on top. Looking for a 2-out hit. He struck out his first time. Ball one outside.
Well, he's another one of these hitters. He's probably not a 30 or certainly a 40 home run guy, but when you use half the field, and in today's game, as the Red Sox are doing now with the shift, it's very hard to hit for a high average.
Here comes a 1-0 pitch. Out in front of it is Joyce. A ball and a strike. By the way, that strikeout, as Molina went down looking to start this inning, goes on to the record of Solis.
Well, that's a tough at bat, isn't it? You get saddled with the strikeout, and a ball pops you in the nose. You didn't even get a chance to see the third strike.
Runner at second here with 2 out and a 1-1 pitch. Strike 2, and that change of pace from De La Rosa has been outstanding so far here tonight.
Outstanding. It's really all about the arm speed and that arm swing we talked about earlier. The long arm swing, the fast arm speed. The hitter's going to read fastball, and that changeup just disappears on the hitter.
Here is a 1-2 pitch. Out in front of it. Just to go back, what John Farrell said was, if these umpires were warned by Major League Baseball to watch out for something coming into this series, and then that happened in the first inning, that could very well have been it, and I think would have been justified in the mind of John Farrell if David Price was ejected after he hit David Ortiz, no matter where he hit him, in the backside or anywhere else.
Good point, but I think you have to distinguish between an official warning and just, hey guys, you're on notice. And there really was no official warning before the game. So when John Farrell talks about a warning, it is not an official warning. I think that's the difference. It's still a gray area, still umpire discretion. Well, the umpire discretion applies to a warning as well.
On the other side, Joe Madden told us before the game, if David Price was ejected, he would have gone nuts. He would have reacted, but he would have understood it. Here is another 1-2.
Well, at that point, he would have been obligated. You get your ace pitcher thrown out of a game in the first inning. You know, you really do have to go out there and support your player. But I think he might have understood. That was certainly within the area where an umpire might have thrown him out of the game. But I did not think the second one to Mike Carp was intentional. I thought Dan Bellino made a good call.
Here's a line drive, now one hop. Herrera, good play, and inning over. They got a good play earlier last inning from Brock Holt at third, and now one from Herrera to end the top of the third. We'll visit with Joe Madden live in the bottom half of the inning going there. Rays and Sox, no score. score, the Red Sox and the Rays. Jonathan Herrera will lead it off against Jake Odorizzi, the 24-year-old right-hander who's looked good. 4 strikeouts already. And here is Herrera getting the start at second for the injured Dustin Pedroia, strike 1. Joe Maddon joins us live from the dugout in his 9th season in Tampa Bay. How you doing down there, and how's your catcher Solis?
I'm a little bit warmer with these earmuffs on. Solis took a pretty good shot. I guess you guys saw it pretty well on TV. I just hadn't really seen that injury before, and he wasn't responding perfectly, so I just didn't feel good about it. Thought it was wise to get him out.
What do you think so far of Odorizzi, your young right-hander?
We're seeing a lot of this lately. A good fastball with a good life at home plate area, and then he's going to throw that little changeup he learned from Alex Cobb. Nice slow curveball for a strike, well-used slider. Just typically he's been pitching like this the last 3 or 4 times out.
Joe, it seems like having a spot in the rotation really suits him well. In other words, not having to worry about going down to AAA, back to the bullpen. What do you see from him in terms of mound presence?
Yeah, exactly. More confidence every time he goes out there. The sense or feeling of belonging here now is turning into a stage 3 major league where I belong here. He's got all that going on. Again, utilizing several different pitches. It permits him to pitch against both righties and lefties.
What do you think as we go through this game? I mean, so much last night, the fireworks between your two clubs. Do you expect payback from Boston?
Well, I don't know what to expect. We had a little meeting before the game with the umpires. John and I did. I thought Teddy Barrett handled it extremely well. I mean, from our perspective, my perspective, I want it to be over with. I just want us to play some baseball. That's all we want. It was an unfortunate night last night. I really hope that we're beyond that.
Well, Joe, take us inside that meeting. We understand that there was no official warning that was issued.
Correct. There was no official warning. Coming from Joe, Torre, and handled by Teddy and the umpire staff, it's just a matter of let's go play some baseball and use some common sense, and I kind of like it.
It's got to give you peace of mind to have a veteran presence like Ted Barrett behind home plate.
Known Teddy for a long time. Did a lot of instructional leagues back in the day in Mesa, Arizona with him. He's a wonderful guy. He's very serious-minded about the game, obviously, but he also has a good time back. He's a good umpire, and he's got a great presence. So when you go out and talk to Teddy, you actually feel like you're being listened to.
1 on, nobody out. A leadoff base hit by Herrera. Going to keep Joe Maddon for 1 more second as the batter is Brock Holt. Grounded out his first time to throw over. I'll just say this, having been with a ball club for a full 162 games, I appreciate the way you break up the monotony that is a long baseball season. Where do you come up with this stuff?
I think it's being a product of Hazelton, Pennsylvania, man. Growing up on 9th Street. Honestly, it's just whatever comes to you at the moment. I really want our guys to have a good time while we're doing this. They've been wanting to do it since they're probably 6 years of age. I think sometimes we take it a little bit too seriously. After all, it is a game. So I want them to not forget that. So whatever it takes, whether it's a theme trip, we did the Jimi Hendrix Woodstock experience. I got it's an all-white trip from here to Miami tomorrow, and then after that I got 007 from Tampa Bay to Oakland later in the year. Just different things. It's kind of fun. I think it really promotes camaraderie, and it's just fun.
And you have a cologne table in the middle of your clubhouse?
Yeah, I got Drakkar Noir on right now. I really stink. No, I don't want to put down Drakkar Noir. I shouldn't say that. Yeah, I went with the Aroma Matters this year. I started with the bread machine in spring training. And, it comes down to, we were struggling a little bit, so I wanted them to go up there to home plate, smell like their dads, or pitch smell like their dads when they used to go out bowling on Monday nights. So that's what that was all about, just to break it up a little bit, and the fact that aroma does matter.
Aroma does matter.
Absolutely.
And you're one of a kind, my friend.
I appreciate that.
Here is a pitch that's upstairs to hold. By the way, Rick Vaughn, your terrific PR director, called to our truck, told our producer Pete that it's just a nasal contusion for your catcher Solis. At this point, does not appear to be broken.
That's right. Listen, the guy gets an opportunity to start a game at Fenway Park and gets a ball in the nose, and is the second or third inning. How unfortunate is that?
And then gets a strikeout and doesn't even get to see the third strike.
He doesn't get a chance to swing and miss. Unbelievable.
Here's a pitch outside. Hey, thanks. You didn't have to do it. We appreciate it. All of us at Fox for you joining us here.
Always my pleasure, guys. Have a great game.
All right.
See ya.
Joe Maddon. I don't know of anybody who squeezes more out of what he's given on a roster than that guy.
Well, all the journalists want to cover his team, and all the players want to play for him. He's that kind of a manager. The grind of a season doesn't seem like such a grind when Joe Maddon is your manager. Aroma matters. How about that?
Here's the 3-2 from Ortiz. Runner goes, and a shot into right center. Back at the wall, it is gone. 2-run home run, Brock Holt. And a little yell from Brock around second base as the Red Sox lead it 2-0. That's his first.
That was a jolt from Brock Holt. Listen, this is a tough ballpark to leave, especially on cool nights like this, to right field. And that's a little guy playing a big man's game. The Red Sox only had 5 home runs here this year from left-handed hitters, 4 of those by Ortiz.
And his first ever big league home run. And he let a little yell go as he got towards second base. That had to feel good.
No silent treatment in the dugout. Usually you get that in your first career home run.
Only hit 6 in the minors. Former Pittsburgh Pirate. And that heart's got to be pumping down in the dugout for Brock Holt. So a base hit, then a 2-run shot. And the batter is Xander Bogaerts, who doubled his first time up. Ahead on the count here, 2-1. 3 balls and a strike from Ortiz. Well, Holt knows that the playing time is going to be cut down severely when Stephen Drew is added to the roster, likely on Monday in Cleveland. And that moves Bogaerts to third and would move Holt to the bench. That's a strike. It's a full count, and if you're Holt, you're hoping it just moves you to the bench, because obviously roster spots, somebody's got to go. Here's the 3-2. Bogaerts trying to hold up, did, and it's the first walk issue.
Fastball down, actually over the plate, probably more up than Ortiz wanted it. Just love the reaction of Holt as he's going around the bases. Like being back at American Legion ball right there. First big fly, Fenway Park. That is pretty cool.
So a meeting on the mound, and down we go to Ken Rosenthal for more on Brock Holt.
Well, guys, we talked earlier about Sean Rodriguez as the throw-in in a deal. Well, Brock Holt was kind of similar to that. December 2012, he came over with Joel Hanrahan from the Pirates in a trade that sent Mark Melancon to Pittsburgh. No one thought much of Brock Holt at the time. The Red Sox thought they might have a utility infielder down the line. Well, he's contributed in a big way.
And now Hanrahan, who was really a good closer, underwent arm surgery, and now he's in the Tigers system trying to fight his way back to the big leagues. Brzezinski gets under it, fouls it left side, and that ball will get out of play, strike 1.
Hanrahan recently with a setback coming back from Tommy John surgery. They do expect him to help the team in the second half of the season, just never know.
Brzezinski struck out his first time with Bogaerts at third and 1 out. Runner at first, nobody out. First 3 have reached in the inning, and that makes it 4. Digging for third, and now stopping is Bogaerts. 2 on, still nobody out.
Yeah, I thought that was a good decision by Bogaerts. That's his call in terms of going to third base to read this ball. And this ball is going to bounce many times before it gets to right field. But with nobody out, you want to be absolutely sure you can make it. And Kiermaier throws very well in right field. And I'm sure the Red Sox have that scouting report.
So they don't test Kiermaier in right. Odorizzi is in a jam. Herrera started it out of the number 9 spot with a base hit up the middle. Brock Holt with a 2-run shot into right center, a walk to Bogaerts. Brzezinski with a base hit. And now it's David Ortiz. See that shift on the infield. Heavy on the right side, and Ortiz off the end of the bat. Strike one.
You saw that shift with Longoria. Has to honor the potential steal of third, so he can't go all the way over in the shortstop position. But David Ortiz hits so few ground balls to the left side, it's almost incidental. It's all about taking away the ground balls on the right side of the field.
That stat, as Ortiz falls into the hole 0-2, something you looked up is, you said it to Joe Madden before the game, and it got his attention. It's just hard to believe that's the case with the base hits on the ground through the right side for David Ortiz.
Well, you know, you think of Tony La Russa as kind of the godfather of the modern bullpen. Well, I think Joe Madden is the godfather of these shifts. When he became manager back here in 06, his first trip here into Fenway, he put 4 outfielders to defend Ortiz. Knowing that he hardly ever hits a ground ball to the left side, he defended the outfield where he does hit the ball the other way. And really ever since then, the early adapters were the Rays. The rest of baseball has caught on. And I found this incredible. David Ortiz has not had a ground ball single to right field since 2006.
And a battle with Odorizzi, and now the shift, by the way, is off. More typical defensive alignment with Zobrist on the other side of the bag. They do plan to pull on the infield, but at least there's 2 to the left side as opposed to only 1 to start this at bat.
A little more count dependent, like in the NFL. The defenses will switch according to down distance. David Ortiz, we saw him last night with 2 strikes go the other way.
2-2.
And David Ortiz will stay on the baseball longer at Fenway than he will on the road. In other words, you might see more of the shift if they're playing this game in St. Petersburg. But here at Fenway, where you get rewarded for hitting that ball the other way, sometimes routine fly balls become doubles. It'll force David Ortiz to stay on the ball longer and hit the ball the other way.
And yet, even with the defense playing into pull, everything has been away to David Ortiz from Odorizzi. Now a 2-2 pitch. Foul.
They tried to go away once again. He actually missed location. Watch Molina is set up. And the ball will tail back over the plate. See the glove of the catcher come back over the plate. But down enough. No damage.
And that is a dangerous spot for David Ortiz. He loves it there and just pulled it foul. Now another 2-2 pitch. That is hammered down the line. Pulled. Foul.
Now, if you're Jake Odorizzi, I know all the fans are going, ooh, wow. If you're Jake Odorizzi, you did your job here. This ball is off the plate. He got in enough. You see Ortiz pull his hands in. He can't keep that ball fair. You just did your job as a pitcher, because now that opens up down and away with that changeup. You had to show him something inside. You had to make sure you didn't leave it over the middle of the plate or even the inside half of the plate. And there's the changeup.
How many times did you personally write off David Ortiz in the past?
Me personally, I never did. I always thought of him as sort of like a Derek Jeter, who a lot of people wrote off about 3 years ago. I saw Wade Boggs late in his career, extended his career. The great players will tell you when they're done. You don't tell them.
Popped up, left side, foul ball, and out of play. Well, he's been extended. He will end his career with the Boston Red Sox. And you look at where he sits. Home runs in franchise history. He became a home run hitter when he got to Boston. Was not with the Twins. And now a visit from Jose Molina to Odorizzi.
Well, when he came here, Joe, he had a real hole in his swing. In on the hands, hard. It's hard to imagine that now because he absolutely destroys those pitches. He worked hard to cover that hole in his swing.
The only pitch that went inside, he almost hammered out of the ballpark down the line. A 2-2. He went around, and the strikeout is the 5th for Odorizzi.
The pitch is up and out of the zone. You see him try to check it. General rule a third base umpire will use with the left-handed hitter: if that barrel crosses the imaginary line above the foul line, the umpire is looking straight down the line. He's got a good angle on it. If you see that barrel cross the foul line, generally they're going to ring you up.
10-pitch at bat, and it ends with a strikeout. Now it's Carp, who was hit by a pitch his first time and tied up a bit with a fastball from Odorizzi, strike one. Jake was a first-round pick by the Brewers back in 2008. Passed on a scholarship to pitch at Louisville, was traded to Kansas City with others for Zach Greinke, then traded to Tampa Bay with Will Myers for James Shields and Wade Davis. Pitches upstairs, a ball and a strike. Back to Ortiz.
One more look here and see, does the barrel cross? Yeah, probably did.
Trying to limit the damage is the 24-year-old, now a 1-1 pitch. And with a shortstop Zobrist in behind the lead runner Bogarts, Odorizzi steps off. In the 50s tonight at Fenway Park. Here's a 1-1. Strike two.
You know, you mentioned Zach Greinke, and obviously Jake was part of that trade. Actually, Greinke is a guy a lot of people compare Odorizzi to in terms of the mechanics, the combination of stuff, the changing speeds. He doesn't have quite the stuff that Zach Greinke has. I asked Jake about that, and he said, you know what, I like to watch Greinke pitch. I like to watch any similar pitcher to me, how they attack hitters, but I especially like to watch Zach Greinke.
That skips in. Molina throws to second. Too late. Brzezinski to second. Over to third is Bogarts. And that ball, I think, came back and hit Ted Barrett.
I think that Odorizzi looked like something happened in his lower half with his legs. Watch him slip and just go down.
It hit the right leg of Barrett. That kept it at the plate, and you're right. It's a wild pitch. As the footing didn't hold for Odorizzi. And the runners advanced to second and third. A little double clutch by Jose Molina might have cost him an out at second base with Brzezinski running. But he was able to advance, as was Bogarts. And now Odorizzi will have a chance to throw a pitch or two to see if his legs are okay.
Right, it hits Barrett here. Molina just kind of double clutched right there. And a nice play by Zobrist, knowing there's no out in order at second base. Get up and meet that ball. Make sure the runner stays at third.
Now the infield will come in. The count's 2-2 on Carp, who has 5 RBIs on the year.
Well, this is where the game has changed. Infield in. It was in the first inning, again in the third.
Molina tried to frame it a full count. On deck is Gomes.
That tells you runs difficult to come by in today's game, and especially for these two teams. Not conceding anything.
3-2. In the air to center. Tagging is Bogarts. The catch by Jennings. The throw home is cut off, and it's 3-0 Boston. RBI number 6 on the year for Mike Carp. And the wild pitch leads directly to a run on that fly ball to center.
Textbook hitting by Carp right here. Use the big part of the field. Get something you can loft. Really no chance at Bogarts there. Might as well take a shot. AJ is not going to advance on that ball.
And it brings in Johnny Gomes. Popped out to short his first time up. In his second year with the Boston Red Sox, and one of the guys who really came to this club prior to last season and changed the feel and the attitude of this team after that last place finish in 2012. The numbers don't blow you away, but he's a shot of energy and some life in this lineup for Boston.
And the Red Sox will tell you that. We know how much they love the numbers here and all the analytics. They'll tell you there's something about Johnny Gomes that doesn't fall into the numbers. It's the energy, it's the approach, the hustle. He has a knack for coming through in big spots.
This ball club is 17-13 when he makes a start. He didn't hit much in the postseason. He made his hits count. And John Farrell just wanted to keep him in the lineup no matter what. He's also the one thing he's done, at least with a bat in his hand and a sunflower seed stuck to his helmet, is hit with runners in scoring position since coming to Boston, hitting .326. This year 23 RBIs, and he's got a guy out there, Pierzynski, with 2 out.
Well, you can tell by that swing. There's that helmet. Boy, if that thing could talk. But he's got that abbreviated follow through, short to the ball and short through the ball.
2-1. He slipped again, Odorizzi. And he looks back at that area where his landing foot, that left foot, comes down. And just a little slip, not like the one on the wild pitch, but almost got overextended again. Counts 3-1, and there's his pitching coach, Jim Hickey. As the pitch is a strike, and it's a full count with Gomes. Gomes looking for a 2-out, 2-strike RBI hit. His Red Sox up 3-0. Pierzynski at second and struck him out looking. 6 on the night for Odorizzi in the inning. First in the big league career of young Brock Holt. A sac fly by Carp and a 3-0 Red Sox lead after 3 at Fenway. Game on Fox is sponsored by light beer you can actually taste, Corona Light, and by T-Mobile. Beautiful night in Boston, Massachusetts. The Red Sox have won 5 straight. They lead 3-0 behind Ruby De La Rosa. The 37-year-old that just caught him to warm him up prior to this 4th inning goes by the name of David Ross, and he's standing at the end of the dugout ready to join us. Hi, David.
What's going on, guys? You didn't have to say my age. I mean, I try to keep that a secret in my free agent year.
Well, last time we saw you, you had to go with a beard last year in the postseason for the Red Sox, and it was scraggly and it was gray, and you said that people, when they'd see you on the street, thought you were a coach.
Yeah, I got that a lot in the stands. I'd be on deck, and they wanted to know why the coach was hitting, you know? Everybody ragging on me, especially in Detroit. They were all over me about being a coach.
So don't complain about us giving away your age when you got that beard working.
That's a good point. I tell them I'm the ploach. I'm the player coach. Ron Ventura used to tell me that.
Here's a fly ball into right off the bat of Longoria. Tough play and out of the reach of Sizemore for strike 2.
Well, David, I wanted to ask you about Ruby De La Rosa. We heard about his arm velocity. Certainly that's eye-catching. I've been really impressed with his changeup tonight. Tell us about that.
He's got a plus changeup. You're right. He's got the velocity. His slider looks like it's been pretty good today. I think that's something that's come along. I remember last year catching him, and even in spring training, he was a little rusty, still young, you know, velocity, but a little all over the place, and trusted his changeup too much. It looks like he's mixing it up really well today. AJ and him got a really good, are really in sync and doing a good job. He's been pitching great for us.
Here's one to Bogarts off the bat of Longoria, who's now 0 for 2. What's the feeling down there? Now, you guys went through that 10-game losing streak. You've won 5 in a row now. Last night we have the benches clearing incident. We've got all the fireworks that go into a typical Red Sox-Rays series. What's the mood down in that dugout and clubhouse?
I think it's business. You know, we were struggling there for so long, and we couldn't figure out a way out of it. And we've won a couple in a row, and we're playing good hard-nosed baseball and doing some things right. We're playing clean baseball games and getting some good pitching and timely hitting, and that's the way the Red Sox we played last year, and we're doing a good job of that here lately. Just clean baseball. I feel like we can go home and lay our heads down and rest soundly if we play good baseball. When we beat ourselves, that's when it's not fun to go home. You know, you lose sleep those nights.
Here's a clunker to the second baseman, Herrera. 2 out. Tomorrow you have John Lester going. You seem to have a good thing going with Lester, with your rapport when he's on the mound. Is that a start for you, David, tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. John told me I was going to be in there tomorrow. He mixes it up a little bit. I hadn't just caught. AJ's mixing a couple games there too. Everybody makes a little bigger deal out of that than it is. But John's so good, it doesn't matter who catches him. We got a little thing going, but you know, it's the same thing with AJ and Lack. I hadn't even caught John Lackey this year. He's caught all his starts, and John Lackey's been probably our most consistent pitcher this year. So we got 2 good catchers here, up there in age and have a lot of experience. 2 World Series rings between us. I can say that now this year.
Yeah.
So it's good. I'm excited to catch Lester. He's fun to catch.
There's a strike and a count 1-1.
Well, I know, David, even when you're not playing, you're feisty. Saturday in St. Pete, and last night again, you were on the top step as loud as anybody.
I have that protective part in me, you know. It's like I treat these guys like family, and anybody starts yelling at our team or whatever, just a natural instinct. I don't like to get that way. I'm usually not, Tom. I try to. It's all love usually, but you know, it's kind of like these are the guys you go to battle with in your family, and I love every one of our teammates in this organization. You know, you commit to it, and you hate to see things get out of hand, but every once in a while you got to be protective.
Same with the Hulk. I mean, let's be honest. He didn't want to get mad, didn't want to turn green.
Maybe I'll dye my beard green instead of this gray. I'll pretend to be the Hulk a little
Bring
bit.
some life into Major League Baseball.
I don't have the muscles that guy has.
Well, hey, let's not get into that topic on a night like this. 3-0, the Red Sox lead it. David Ross, who is one of the 2 catchers on this roster for the Red Sox, joining us from the dugout is Jennings. Waits for a 2-2 and fouls it left side. Every time I get a chance to do one of your games, we get the opportunity to visit with John Farrell. You played for a lot of years. I think that guy is one of the most underrated managers in the game, and is as big a reason as any that you guys did what you did last year.
He does a great job of being consistent. I think on a nightly basis, he doesn't get too high or too low. He really doesn't ride the wave of what a season can bring, and I think that's what you saw last year. We were as consistent of a baseball team that I've ever been around. Just night in and night out, playing hard, playing our game, and he's at the top of that, leading guys, setting the right example. You know, didn't change too many things when things started going bad or things were going too good. He just wrote, you know, stayed consistent, even keel, and I thought that was what we needed. You know, we have a lot of personalities in this locker room. We got some superstars. We got some guys like me that are journeymen and been around, and he has a way of communicating to each guy and making him feel important.
All right, Hulk, that's it. That's all we got from you. Go get him tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
That's David Ross. Let's go into the bottom of the fourth. Red Sox will bat up by 3. Ultimate Fighter continues Wednesday, and the action is heating up. 2 fighters go into the octagon to see who will earn a spot in the semifinals. Don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fighter Wednesday at 10 Eastern and Pacific on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We go into the bottom of the 4th inning. 3-0 Red Sox on top. Celebrate Sunday all season long with special ticket offers. Head to the ballpark with your friends and family. Go to MLB.com/Sunday. And before the bottom of the 4th inning, we remind you MLB Fan Cave is back. Some of baseball's biggest stars scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. You can go to MLBFancave.com, follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter, and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. Odorizzi back to the hill. They worked on the mound prior to the bottom of this 4th inning. He had some trouble with his footing last inning. And so here is Grady Sizemore, then Jackie Bradley Jr., and Jonathan Herrera in the 4th. That's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, they worked on that landing area where his left foot comes down. Packed in some clay.
Here's a 1-1. That's into center, base hit. Grady Sizemore is on to start the 4th. Before Bradley hits, we'll take you back to last night. I'll show you the reason why Dustin Pedroia is not in the game tonight. Saving that throw, landing on the outside of his right hand, went for an MRI. And we go down to Ken Rosenthal for an update.
Joe, good news on this one. The MRI confirmed no fracture in that right hand, no structural damage. And let's face it, guys, the Red Sox need Dustin Pedroia more than ever. Their offense down more than a run per game. On that road trip and that 10-game losing streak, he and Ortiz combined for only 1 RBI. The reason? Pitchers are finding it easier to navigate this lineup with all the losses that they've had, all the young players that they're mixing in.
Ken, thanks. So good news for the Red Sox. Pedroia, one of the best players in the game, period.
Yeah, that he fell on that hand. I believe it was the second inning early in the game. Stayed in the game, actually had a chance to win the game in the 9th inning and had an at-bat with a runner in scoring position. And really couldn't keep that right hand on the bat. He was essentially swinging one-handed the rest of the game.
Well, Ken touched on it with regard to the runs per game being down, as Jackie Bradley Jr., who represents the center field spot in the order in the lineup. And it's been quite a drop-off, especially with the average from a year ago. Jacoby Ellsbury, that's what he hit last year with Boston on May 31st. He already had 20 RBIs, 21 stolen bases. There goes Sizemore. Throw down is not in time. Stolen base number 5.
Good jump, Molina. He's very good transferring the ball. Great footwork here. Throws on the money. But a nice jump by Sizemore. Get the bag. Not an easy pitcher to run on, Odorizzi. Again, like Greinke, very athletic, holds runners. Only the 2nd stolen base against him this year.
Bradley's been good with runners in scoring position. And he's been better of late overall, as he just got a piece to stay alive. Still 2-2.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite split, Joe, that you'd expect from a young hitter. Base is empty. It's 139. Put somebody on the bags. 272. Very patient hitter.
3-0 Red Sox. Bradley trying to add to it. Runner at second, nobody out. 2-2 pitch. Advances the runner. Sizemore to third on a ground out to second. Underhand toss by Rodriguez, 1 out.
Should get some high fives in the dugout. Did his job. You see Cesar Ramos up in the bullpen. That last inning for Jake Odorizzi, he needed 41 pitches to get through that inning.
7 men came to the plate for Boston. 3 runs on 3 hits. There was a walk in there and a wild pitch. Now the infield is in again with Herrera, who started that 3-run rally last inning with a hit. Bunts. And the play by Odorizzi, not in time. It wasn't a straight suicide squeeze, but it worked to perfection. Sizemore sized it up, took off, and makes it 4-0.
Odorizzi just makes a very aggressive play here. As you mentioned, runner's not breaking. He's bunting for a hit. Sizemore reading the bunt. And Odorizzi decided he's going to try to make this play rather than let it go foul. I'm not sure that it would, but that's a very difficult play to make on the run with the backhand flip.
It goes as an RBI base hit for Herrera, who's now 2 for 2. With the RBI and the run scored, and you can see Sizemore, once that was put down in a good spot, he took off. Good try by Odorizzi, but clearly safe is Sizemore to make it 4-0.
Yeah, looking at it again, I don't think it would have gone foul.
And that's going to be it.
Yeah, I think that was the case where the high pitch count of the last inning caught up with him this inning.
Ramos is coming in. Brock Holt is coming up. Red Sox have won 5 straight. Lead it 4-0 on a Saturday night. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning on a Saturday night at Fenway Park, and the Red Sox are having all the fun. They're getting a really good start from Ruby De La Rosa. And the Red Sox have now forced the Rays to dip into their bullpen as Cesar Ramos takes over. Runner at first, one out here in the fourth. Brock Holt, who hit his first major league home run his last time up, stands in. And as you mentioned earlier in the game, Holt, the left-handed hitting infielder and utility player, is getting a lot of playing time because of the situation on the left side of the infield here with Boston. Is a .304 hitter against left-handed pitching. So he's hung in there well against southpaws as he waits and now steps out as Ramos takes too long.
Yeah, Ramos not your traditional left-handed, say, matchup reliever, more of a starter stuff. Sinker, slider change, very quick arm, even shorter motion than Odorizzi.
That misses for ball one. Holt is now hitting .304. As I mentioned earlier, somebody's going to have to go infielder-wise for the Red Sox when Stephen Drew is activated after his 10 games in the minor leagues. It's going to happen at the beginning of the week on Monday in Cleveland. Holt's doing his part. His competition, Herrera, is the runner at first. And Herrera's 2 for 2 tonight, as the Red Sox play without Dustin Pedroia, out with the injured hand. But as we heard from Ken Rosenthal, the MRI negative. No break. Runner goes, and a foul right side. So how about this? Not only these two, but the guy starting tonight for Clay Buchholz, Ruby De La Rosa, has gone 4, allowed no runs, 3 hits, struck out 5, and walked nobody.
Steven, Dustin, Clay, take your time. We've got it covered. Manager's dream when that happens.
Here is a 2-2 pitch. Another foul. As we go through this game, it's worth taking a look at the American League East, looking at the Toronto Blue Jays, looking at what these clubs could add, or maybe in the case of the Tampa Bay Rays, subtract as we go through the rest of this season. It's going to be interesting to see what these clubs do. Another 2-2. Got him over the outside corner. 2 out.
Fastball on the outside corner there. Great location. And Molina is as good as there is in terms of making balls look like strikes. Great at framing pitching. Look at those standings, Joe. If you looked at the final standings of last year, it's almost exactly inversed. You just flip-flop Boston and Tampa Bay. Boston finished first last year. Tampa Bay second. The last shall be first this year.
Are you a believer in the Toronto Blue Jays?
I am now. You know, I don't know about the long haul in terms of winning that division, but as a contender, absolutely.
Well, right now there is a lack of a dominant team in the American League East, and if you're Toronto, if you're Baltimore, that's good news. And look at this. Look at what Encarnacion has done this month. 16 home runs. Burley is 9-1. They've won 10 of 12. They won today, 12-2. They beat Kansas City. That gets away from Molina, who just flashed at it with a backhand. And down to second is Herrera on a ball that skipped in from Ramos.
Bounced in front of the plate. Just he tried to pick that like an infielder rather than block that one, and didn't get away with it.
And now with the red hot Bogarts, they're going to put him on. It's a wild pitch to move Herrera down to second. And the intentional pass will put Bogaerts on to get the left-handed hitting Pierzynski up against Ramos.
I don't blame Joe Madden. That's the right move to make. As hot as he's been.
So right now, with 2 on and 2 out, we'll step aside. Here's Rob Stone in the studio with a game break. Yeah, and they had been on a great run in Philadelphia. Had that winning streak snapped last night. Streak that dated back to last season, I believe 6 straight. And they're in the plus category tonight with a win at Philly. As Pierzynski grounds a base hit into center. Herrera coming to the plate, and that's going to make it 5-0 Boston. On a 2-out RBI hit by A.J. Pierzynski after the walk.
And I was just about to say, be careful, first pitch. Everybody knows that about A.J. 4th in the league in terms of swinging at first pitches. He loves to hit early in the count, and that's just too good of a pitch to an aggressive first pitch hitter. Slider left over the plate.
So for A.J., his second hit of the night, it gives him 27 RBIs on this right back up the middle.
Yeah, see, that's in the strike zone. You almost have to pitch him like the count's 0-2. Slider's fine, but make it go through the strike zone, out of the strike zone.
Herrera scored. Bogaerts went first to third, runners at the corners for David Ortiz. In the air to right. Back on the track is Kiermaier to end the inning. But in the inning, 2 more runs for the Red Sox. They lead by 5 with a 5-game winning streak. On Fox is sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Or find a river. Charles River. Beautiful night in Boston. Temperature in the 50s. Windy here at Fenway Park. We'll give you the Lowe's Never Stop Improving pitcher profile. And Ruby De La Rosa, here's what he had going on coming into tonight. Picked up from the Dodgers in 2012. Was actually rehabilitating from Tommy John surgery. 4-7 in his big league career. But, man, he looks good tonight.
He looks really good, especially considering his first major league start at Fenway Park tonight.
Here's a bunt attempt that's fouled by Kiermaier. Strike one.
And I can tell you, I know he's a very smart pitcher. The reason I know that, he spent the offseason working out with Pedro Martinez. Pedro is probably one of the smartest pitchers I've ever been around.
There's the 0-1. Good tailing action. 94 miles per hour, strike two. On 0-2. You got to like the pace, too, by De La Rosa. He's getting it. He's confident. He's throwing it. He has struck out 5, walked nobody.
Yeah, you like the mound presence, and I think he's smart enough to put the game in A.J. Pierzynski's hands. Get the sign and go.
That's at the knees. Strikeout number 6.
What do you call it, Joe? Right at the knees. That's a ball that really just holds its plane where the hitter thinks it's going to sink out of the zone. Started right at the knees and stayed right there.
Kiermaier now 1 for 2, and the batter will be Sean Rodriguez, who was robbed of a hit and an RBI and a diving stop by Brock Holt to end the top of the second.
Right, and that last pitch, that's the difference maker. If he can throw that slider for strikes as the third pitch, wow.
0-2. 97.
At the knees again.
Just his look.
I love this when the pitcher's ready to go and the batter's trying to slow him down.
Just oozing confidence as he misses outside with ball 1.
Can't wait to get the ball. Reminds me, Dwight Gooden was as good a pitcher early in his career as I ever saw. He was so good, he told me that.
Strikeout number 7.
Strikeout on the slider. And he said that when he was going great, not just good, there's the slider with the great location once again. That can't be put in a better spot. When he got a lead, he used to root for his team to make outs so he could go back on the mound. It was so much fun, and why not? With the stuff that he had.
Well, De La Rosa, who started the season off in the minor leagues very well, is coming off 6 shutout innings of Syracuse his last time out for Pawtucket. Was overall 2-3, and ERA just over 3 in 10 starts. He's won 4 big league games, but he's never looked like this. 1 ball, 1 strike on Jose Molina.
AJ's doing a great job working with him. You saw the first pitch to Molina. Maybe pulled it a little bit of an overemphasis on velocity on that one. AJ just reminded him, settle down. Stuff is good enough.
Out in front of it is Molina, and now De La Rosa here in the 5th inning could strike out the side.
It seems like second time through the lineup here, he's really found that slider. Now if he wants to, he can elevate with that fastball above the hands. Fastball away.
Plenty of time for Bogarts. De La Rosa is rolling halfway through it on a Saturday night. Baseball night in America. Red Sox rolling up 5-0 over the Rays. They've been playing baseball on this spot in Boston since 1912. And they've done such a good job of keeping this park as young as it can be. How about on this date in Major League history? We go back to 1999. Cliff Floyd of the Marlins hits that ball to left. And the crew chief, the late Frank Pulley, goes to a camera operator in the dugout, looks through the viewfinder, and basically instituted replay on his own that day and granted the home run as he overturned the call, as the replay showed that the ball did leave the park.
The man was ahead of his time.
He was great. Frank Pulley. As a ground ball left side. Nice play by Zobrist. And got him at first to rob Mike Karp of a base hit, as Zobrist makes a fantastic play to start the bottom of the fifth.
I mean, that's a Gold Glove play by a guy who spends most of his time at second base. The range, the footwork, and the arm. Wow, a nice pick by Loney to complete the play.
Foot still on the bag, ball in the glove, and it beats Karp for out number one.
He went a long way for that ball. He was shaded up the middle against Karp.
Here's Johnny Gomes. One out, nobody on. Bottom of the fifth inning, 5-0. Boston on top and a ball in the dirt.
You have to say replay has been good for baseball, right?
Yeah.
I think the fans really like it. I know the players like it.
I think managers are settling in now and getting a better feel for how to not just use it, but in some ways manipulate it, which was only a matter of time with the gamesmanship that goes on with the slow play on the arguments. You look at the overall numbers, and the overturn rate on replay is overall 46%.
It's actually got above that now. Getting above 50%. Early in the season, it was below 40%.
Here's a ground ball right side. What a play! As good as you'll see from Rodriguez. Sliding to rob Johnny Gomes of a hit. And how about those two plays to start the inning?
Can you top this? Look how far he's going to go to get to this baseball. I mean, that is just unbelievable range by Rodriguez. And look at the throw from down under with velocity on it. A spectacular play.
And a wow from Cesar Ramos. I mean, that's just the range, and as you said, to get that much on the throw while he was basically in the air coming up from that slide is just remarkable.
Well, you said it. His ability to start coming out of the slide before he even had control of the baseball shortened the time and got him in position to get something on that throw.
With 2 out, nobody on, the batter is Sizemore, who singled, stole a base, and scored last time. That was in the 4th inning, and look at this throw.
As he's transferring the ball into the throwing hand, he's getting up out of the slide and absolute guns it to first base.
Zobrist first, and then Sean Rodriguez. Backing up Ramos, who now has Sizemore set up at 0-2. And out in front of it, just got a piece to stay alive. This is a Tampa Bay defense that's tied for 3rd fewest errors in the American League with 28. The middle infielders bailing out Ramos here in the 5th.
What was the motto Joe Madden gave us on the Rays? We catch line drives. Talking about their defensive positioning. Pretty good on ground balls, too.
That's out of play left side. So from the manager's challenging calls, it's 50%. The umpires initiating the challenge, 24% on the overturn. Overall 46%, and I'm with you. I think replay has been a real positive for this game, with some kinks still to be ironed out. Hard hit, off the glove of Zobrist into center. And the second consecutive hit for Grady Sizemore as we go down to Ken Rosenthal for more on replay.
Well, Joe, those stats that you just gave don't entirely reflect how the umpires are doing, because they do not include all the times that the manager goes out and doesn't challenge and effectively says that the call was correct. Now, I asked Joe Torre this week about those delays when the manager comes on the field. It's been a complaint a lot of people have had. He said he basically has no problem with it. The time of game, the average time, is up about 3.5 minutes this year from last year, but there are a lot of factors that go into that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's the slow walk that's made, and then the look into the dugout to get the thumbs up or the thumbs down on asking for a replay.
I'd like to get rid of that part of it. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, if you leave the dugout, it has to be a challenge.
1 on, 2 out. Pretty good pitch, called ball 1 to Jackie Bradley Jr. Jackie 0 for 2. First full taste of the big league life came up last year, and overall started this game hitting 200 as a big leaguer. Hitting the 270s last year at AAA. Trying to take the spot left open with the departure of Jacoby Ellsbury. One on, 2 out, 2-0 the count to check on the runner.
Well, these two teams know a thing or two about length of game, don't they?
Well, typically, the Red Sox are on the list for the longest average length of game. Red Sox and Yankees are long ones. But Tampa Bay, it's been unbelievable.
There you go. Longest in baseball. And it's certainly not because they score a lot of runs.
And at the knees, 2-1.
And of course, Joe Madden, an answer for everything, had one for that. He said, it's the silence between the notes that creates the music. The silence between the notes. As Joe, that's a lot of silence between the notes. Gotta cut it down a little bit.
Runner at first, 2 out. That's down for ball 3.
Part of that is Jose Molina. You talk about controlling the pace of the game. He likes to work slowly. You talk about hitters that like to get out of the box and get themselves focused for every pitch. He likes to do that behind the plate. A lot of mound visits.
The wave makes its way across the crowd here at Fenway as Bradley tries to launch one into right center. Back at the wall, it is gone. Home run, Jackie Bradley Jr. And it's 2 more on the board. 7-0 Red Sox in the 5th. And the first this season for Bradley.
That was impressive. Again, the one by Holt earlier. Fastball count, 3-1. Great extension through the baseball. Red Sox had 5 home runs at home this year from left-handed batters coming into this game. That's number 2 tonight.
So lefty on lefty, and that's the 4th in the young big league career of Jackie Bradley Jr. Hit 3 last year. And it's a 2-homer night for the Red Sox lineup so far, up 7-0. Now Herrera, who has 2 hits. Ball's in the hole, 0-2.
Look at those smiles in there. Remember that 10-game losing streak? I don't think they do. It wasn't that long ago, but it seems like forever.
Working on their 6th win in a row as Herrera has his 3rd hit in a row. 3 for 3 tonight as he fought it off through the right side to keep this 5th alive. And the inning will continue for Brock Holt, who hit his first big league home run back in the 3rd. The Red Sox have had to stick with Jackie Bradley Jr. out of necessity. Nobody really ready to come up. They have a young player, AA Mookie Betts, who they're playing in center field. He might make his big league debut this year, but it's Bradley Jr.'s job at the moment. And he looks like he's starting to come around. See what the bottom of the order is done for Boston in this game. Sizemore, Bradley, and Herrera.
Well, they definitely need more production out of the outfield in general, not just Jackie Bradley Jr. Starting to get it this week. Sizemore swinging the bat better. Of course, Shane Victorino on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. They need him back as well.
It's that right hamstring that cost him over 3 weeks to start the year. The first 22 games. He's back on, put on this week. Daniel Nava called up. There's Shane. 1 on, 2 out, 2-0 pitch. Strike one.
Again, what a difference a week makes. And you're thinking, good teams, really good teams, just don't lose 10 games in a row. And this team did, and I think there was a little bit of a crisis of confidence, wondering if we really are a good team.
Strike two.
No team in the wild card era has made the playoffs in a season in which they did lose 10 games in a row. Of course, the Red Sox don't care about that.
Neither do these fans who are packed in the Fenway as they are game after game, enjoying it here tonight on a Saturday as the count goes full on Holt. Nobody up for the Rays in their bullpen. On deck is Bogarts.
Maybe to improve the pace of the game, we'll just start the count 3-2 on Brock Holt. He always seems to wind up there anyway.
Runner will go. That's Herrera. 3-2 pitch. He reached for it. Ramos off the mound. Didn't get him, and safe at first. He missed him on the tag and then could not get it over the head of Holt to the first baseman Loney.
Just avoided the tag, and that's a difficult catch for Loney with the throw really essentially into the runner there. Well, in that case, he can be out of that running lane there, avoiding the tag. He's got 3 feet. So right there he is, 3 feet.
It's a base hit. A single for Brock Holt. The batter now is Bogarts.
Such a dangerous play for that first baseman.
Bogarts didn't mean to. Couldn't hold up strike one. Xander over his last 3+ games is 10 out of 15. In this game, he's got a double and 2 walks. Seemingly getting better by the day. The 0-1. Fly ball into right. Pretty well hit. But handled out there with plenty of room by Kiermaier. And we go into inning number 6. Red Sox having fun, so are the fans at Fenway. Boston up 7-0. Is sponsored by Bayer Back and Body, the official pain reliever of MLB, and by Burger King. Come try the new Chicken Big King, only at Burger King. As you look at a gathering of people far smarter than I am,
we'll all be working for them next month.
That is the Harvard graduation. They graduated this past Thursday. Michael Bloomberg was the featured speaker, the commencement address. Saw former President Bush there next to him. And this great city with a rich sports tradition, all the colleges and universities. Harvard graduating their senior class on Thursday. So we go to the 6th inning, and Ruby De La Rosa missed with ball 1. Top of the order, De Jesus, who is 0 for 2, takes a strike. There really has not been much over the heart of the plate from De La Rosa so far, really all night.
Really impressed with him, and for the most part, even with the fastball, staying down at the knees. Can't get hurt down there.
Outside, 2-1. De Jesus has struck out, grounded out. Zobrist and Joyce will follow. And the frustration offensively has continued for the Tampa Bay Rays. Here's a 2-1. Out in front of it. That's a foul ball.
You know, Joe, on nights like this, it's easy to see why a lot of the people in the Red Sox organization want to run this guy out as a starting pitcher. Because that starting pitcher stuff that he's had tonight. A great changeup and that third pitch, the slider being the equalizer. I always believe that don't be in a rush to put a guy in the back of a bullpen. He's got 3 pitches, can command them. Looks like he's built to throw 200 innings in a season. Let him show you he's not a starting pitcher before you decide.
Out in front of it again. A little chopper to the right side. The feed to De La Rosa, 1 out. We look at these two teams and where they sit and what's gone on so far. You see the overall records coming in. 4th and last in the competitive AL East. You see the runs scored, the batting average. Runs scored really down for the Boston Red Sox. The starting pitchers, what they've done as far as wins. The bullpens have been worked over, not getting a lot of innings from the starting pitchers. But even though coming in just 2.5 games separate the Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox, to me these look like two teams that are in different worlds right now. I think the Boston Red Sox, trying to win their 6th in a row, have every reason to be optimistic about the rest of this season with a lot of time left. The Rays, you wonder where the offense is going to come from.
And the last statistics that we saw there really surprised me, Joe. Last in wins by starters. And the innings that the bullpen had to pick up so far this year, that'll wear you out. That will catch up with you in the second half of the season. That's surprising as well. The whole MO, I believe, for the Rays has been pitching and defense. Getting about 900+ innings out of starting pitchers. They are not built to withstand just so few innings and wins from their starters.
Another strikeout. That's 8 for De La Rosa. Ken Rosenthal is with us down on the field as you look at Zobrist going down for the second out here in the 6th inning. Kenny?
Well, Joe, the question with the Rays ultimately will become, what do they do with this team? Do they trade David Price? Do they trade other veterans like Zobrist, Matt Joyce? They're going to have to decide not only whether they can compete this season, but whether they can compete next season as well, because if you start trading off multiple parts, then you're putting next season in jeopardy. But their farm system is thin, and this might be the time to do it. A team that acquires Price can get him for 2 pennant races, this one and the next one, controlling him through the end of next season.
Well, so you talk about Price. They've lost Matt Moore to Tommy John surgery. Alex Cobb was on the DL. They hope to get Hellickson back by the end of June. That's the pitching end of things, but offensively, That's what's really frustrated Joe Maddon, not being able to get the big hit. The big run producer, Evan Longoria, his numbers are down. There are a lot of outs in this lineup right now, and De La Rosa is finding them. As the count goes to 2-1 on Matt Joyce, who's 0 for 2.
Now listen, he's had really good stuff tonight. The command has been excellent, but you're right, they just have not challenged him. The extra bases, never mind the home runs, just the extra base power hasn't been there for Tampa Bay this year. And that's what Joe Maddon brought up when we talked to him. He thought his pitching has been good enough, but the Longorias, the Zobrist, the Joyces, just not seeing the extra base power.
Will Myers has had a down year after an impressive start last year. 95 from De La Rosa, fastball count. Joyce got the fastball, couldn't do anything with it. See the drop off through 55 games from a year ago. 3-2 pitch. Joyce just got a piece.
Now Kenny brings up a very good point about David Price. I mean, generally that you're not going to see some trade movement in the month of June. But you think of the month of June as kind of establishing where this franchise is going to go. And then July, if they don't make up a lot of ground in June, is the time when you start putting them on the market, at least seeing what you might be able to get back.
3-2 pitch again is fouled away as De La Rosa tries to avoid his first walk of the night. Trying to get through 6. Allowed only 3 hits, 1 extra base hit to Zobrist back in the 3rd that came with 2 out. Not hard hit. Charging it, making the play, Bogarts. And the inning is over. We go into the bottom of the 6th inning. Red Sox will bat as they lead Tampa Bay by 7. Start that game 7.5 back. Actually 7, because earlier in the afternoon San Francisco lost at St. Louis, but the San Francisco Giants are sitting there now at 36-20, easily the best record in Major League Baseball as we are about to head into June, as A.J. Pierzynski will face Cesar Ramos.
Would you say the Giants are a surprise team based off their losing season last year?
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, considering they haven't been totally healthy either. They lose Brandon Belt, their first baseman. But Bruce Bochy has the ability to mix and match. They do have enough starting pitching. Tim Hudson has been as big an addition as any team made over the offseason.
You're absolutely right. Brian Sabian, a great winter. Tim Hudson, Michael Morse have really changed that team.
Brzezinski has 2 hits. Flies one into center. Jennings in to grab it, 1 out. Desmond puts it away, and the batter will be David Ortiz. David had plenty to say last night after being hit by David Price in the first inning. With reporters in front of him at his locker, he was venting his frustration with David Price. Even brought you up, Tom Verducci, in his soliloquy. And then David Price talked about it tonight with Ken Rosenthal before the game. Who wants it? Ortiz doesn't run. Loney makes the catch. 2 out. Here's Ortiz last night after the game.
I have a lot of respect for the guy, man, but it's over. Got no more respect for him. You know, last year we kicked his ass in the playoff. He went off talking about everybody. Tom Verducci and everybody, players, you know, and kind of got to talk on the phone. We just kind of things. We kind of straight things up. He was kind of upset, you know, and me as a veteran, I kind of let him know how things go in this game, and then later on he called me and apologized, and because he know he was wrong. He apologized in public, apologized to myself and everything. Everything was cool. So, first at bat of the season against him, he drilled me. That means for one, you know, it's on. Next time you hit me, you better bring the gloves on. I have no respect for him no more.
That's Ortiz. Will there be more action and fireworks tonight? Time will tell. 7th inning. Joe Maddon's team will bat, down by 7. A 93-mile-per-hour fastball starts the 7th inning, and Evan Longoria looked at strike one. Longoria had a pitch sail behind him last night out of the hand of Brandon Workman, which led to his ejection and led to the ejection of Brian Butterfield, who was the acting manager, who had taken over for Torey Lovullo, who had taken over for the ejected John Farrell. How about the defense that Brock Holt is providing here tonight? He's made 2 good plays. That one not as eye-popping as the first, but not easy. He made it look so.
Yep, great footwork, good athletic play, throws it right on the money.
Here's the first one on the diving stop on a ball hit by Sean Rodriguez with 2 on in a scoreless game in the second.
That's one of only 3 batters that De La Rosa has faced with runners on base, and his third baseman bails him out. Joe, he's getting better the deeper he gets into this game.
That one pumped in at 96, a ball to Loney.
12 batters in a row now without the ball getting out of the infield. You'll be playing this game in the lobby of the Rays Hotel and not threatening any of the lamps or chandeliers.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Down and away, 2-0.
Just not squaring anything up.
Loney's fly to center grounded out. No action in either bullpen at the moment. Changed up with a count of 2-0.
Wow. I mean, that had some nasty movement on it. Besides the fact that you can throw it, have the confidence to throw it, as you said, Joe, 2-0. I don't think it moved like that.
Here's a 2-1. I credit A.J. Pierzynski. It started from the first batter. A 3-2 pitch to the leadoff man to Jesus was a changeup to strike him out, and A.J. said, we're using all the stuff you got. Doesn't matter the count, and he's carried that on throughout the night.
Yeah, I agree with you. Great job being a co-pilot here.
That is a foul ball.
I have not seen De La Rosa shake a sign tonight. Full confidence in the catcher. And once again, we've talked about the pace that De La Rosa has had. Well, AJ is helping set that pace. Putting the right signs down. And the full confidence of his pitcher. Now for James Loney, what do you do? 3-2. You got to look fastball, protect against that changeup.
Be ready for anything. And it's a fastball, and it's a base hit into left. Maybe not. 88.
That's one of the few mistakes he's made with the change.
It was up, and that breaks a string, Tom, of 11 straight retired by De La Rosa.
There goes a lamp. Nice job by Loney.
And so 1 on 1 out for Desmond Jennings. And Alex Wilson gets loose as Jennings, who has one of the 4 hits tonight for the Rays, stands in. Well framed by Pierzynski. Strike 1. Jennings hitting .237. Desmond hitting only .152 since the 5th of May. Looking for his second hit. Watches that one drop in for strike 2.
This is not one of his better sliders. It kind of hangs up in the zone. Got away with it. Desmond couldn't pull the trigger.
1 on 1 out in a 7-0 game. The 0-2 pitch. Fastball, foul ball. 97 from De La Rosa.
Wow. 7th inning of work. Over 100 pitches. Easy 97. And remember, this start belonged to Clay Buchholz, who they've really been puzzled about where his stuff has gone. No question about this stuff.
Might be. Herrera, the tag, the double play. 7 strong put up by Ruby De La Rosa. Herrera with a 4-3 double play, and it's time to stretch at Fenway Park. Just total domination for the Red Sox right-hander, up 7-0. Game on Fox, sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by the new Samsung Galaxy S5. The next big thing is here. Next Saturday, full day of MLB action beginning with the Indians taking on Texas on Fox Sports 1. Then baseball night in America. The red-hot Boston Red Sox take on Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers. The Yankees and the Royals, or the A's and Orioles. Begins next Saturday, 3 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Continues at 7 Eastern right here on Fox. Back to work is Ramos, getting some outs to try and save the rest of the bullpen. As the first pitch to Gomes is outside, ball one. Gomes robbed of a hit his last time up on a sliding play by Sean Rodriguez. Ball and a strike on Johnny. Bottom of the 7th inning in a 7-0 game. Here's a 1-1. 2-1.
I'm still thinking about that qualifier you used for the Red Sox. Red hot Red Sox. Imagine just a week ago, in the midst of a 10-game losing streak.
Say what you want, that little benches clearing incident last Sunday. As a ground ball, diving stop, Longoria, and Gomes is robbed again. Second straight time he's been at the plate, robbed of a hit. This time it's Evan Longoria.
Wow, we're used to this from Longoria. One of the premier defenders at that position in all the major leagues. Great extension. That's 3 spectacular plays this infield has made. First Zobrist, then Rodriguez, and now Longoria.
If you want to say Yunel Escobar woke up the Red Sox, I think anybody with the Red Sox would tell you that Yunel Escobar last Sunday running, not granted or awarded a stolen base, they called it fielder's indifference, in what was just a 5-run game in the 7th inning. Started a little shouting match. The bench is emptied, no punches but some shoving, and then it was on to Atlanta for the Red Sox. They win 2. They come here, they beat the Braves for 2, and now they're on their way to their 2nd straight win over the Tampa Bay Rays. Here's a 1-0. Flying into left center field. That ball is caught. Sliding catch by Jennings in left center. As Sizemore made a bid for his 3rd straight hit. Now it's an outfielder, Desmond Jennings, getting in on the fun.
Yeah, great first step reaction. Long run for this ball. He's got it sized up the whole way.
I know you're not buying that.
Well, I was just thinking the irony, Joe. Escobar did nothing wrong.
I totally agree.
The Red Sox were 100% wrong about that. Now, were they frustrated? Yeah, of course they were, losing 10 in a row. But there was nothing wrong about taking that base in a 5-run game.
Here's a ground ball on the infield. Took a hop. Rodriguez the easy play, and we go to the 8th inning. Rays will bat as they trail by 7. Over for the Red Sox here in the 8th inning, and Ruby De La Rosa. 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, and just dominant from the first batter on.
I mean, you're right. The 0 walks really jumps out at me.
Kiermaier, first pitch swinging, fouls it, strike 1.
And again, I can't emphasize enough. That's her first career start at Fenway Park. I don't care who you are. You get here with the crowd. Above all, that wall seems right on top of you in left field. You feel like you can't make any mistakes. You try to be too fine. He went right after people.
Wilson. And this is upstairs at 93 to Kiermaier, who's 1 for 2. It's Rodriguez next, and then Molina, bottom 3 in the lineup. 2 balls and a strike. Wilson brings it. Fly ball left center. Jackie Bradley Jr. on the run. Can't make the catch. And he is hurt. Circling the bases is Kiermaier. And he's going to come all the way to the plate on an inside the park home run to make it 7-1. But Bradley unable to get up. And so now out to left center field goes John Farrell and one of the trainers to check on Jackie Bradley Jr., who gave it a tremendous effort.
Watch the baseball here. Baseball hits the wall and comes down and hits him in the face. This comes real close to catching this, but watch the carom. Oh.
Got him in the nose. So the Tampa Bay Rays lost a player, their catcher Solis, to a ball that hit him in the nose, and now Jackie Bradley Jr. off the wall and right into his face and right off his nose.
I mean, that's a spectacular effort by Bradley, running a long way, knowing that wall's coming up on you. And he ran so far, he really didn't have time just to plant and jump. Still kind of running as he left the ground.
Showing off his leaping ability high up against the wall, almost made a spectacular catch. And now they check his nose, see if he's okay to continue or if they're going to have to go to the bench. It's an inside the park home run for Kiermaier, who can fly.
Yeah, watch this. Fast out of the batter's box and just finds another gear as this ball gets loose out there. And he could have scored standing up, but he's going to go in with a slide.
Second one this month for Tampa Bay. Will Myers had one against the Yankees the 4th of May, and now Bradley is going to stay in the game. He is. Great effort by Jackie Bradley Jr. The Rays are on the board, and good to see Bradley able to continue, and they love it out above the monster in left center. They got a good view. Jackie, who's not a big guy height-wise, had the glove up into the letter B on F.W. Webb in left center field. He got up. As Rodriguez steps in, the Rays are on the board now, down by 6. Breaking ball misses, ball 1.
There's the vertical here. Look how high up with the reach up by that B there. As you said, he's not a tall guy. He's really, I'm sure, less than 6 feet tall as you see all the divots on that wall out there. Always reminds me of Joe, the first time I came to Fenway Park. Got here early just to walk out underneath the monster in left field. I never realized all the divots that were out there.
Yeah.
It looks like a giant golf ball, the skin of a golf ball.
Bradley, by the way, is listed at 5'10", 195, and another divot.
If those walls could talk. Well, you know, it's not just the fans, too, here at Fenway appreciated that. And that's going to go over and does very well in his own clubhouse. The effort, Joe, and also staying in this game. I'm sure he talked his way into remaining into this game.
Solis, who was hit with a baseball in the nose on a carom, had to leave the ball game back in the 3rd. Initial indication was that it was not a broken nose. Here's a strikeout for out number 1 in the 8th. That's the 9th time a Tampa Bay Ray has struck out tonight.
Good slider from Wilson.
Batter will be Molina.
Yeah, that's a new one for me. 2 balls in the nose in 1 game. Go all season without seeing that.
Molina is 0 for 1 and a little foul right side, strike 1. It's Bedard and Lester tomorrow in the finale of this series before The Red Sox head off to Cleveland when they should have a new shortstop. Stephen Drew signed to a deal for just over $10 million. Back with the Red Sox. Strike 2 on Molina. Game tomorrow is 1 o'clock Eastern. For Rays fans, tune in tomorrow for the final game on Sun Sports. Pitch in the dirt, ball 1.
That was Alex Cobb's day to pitch, but they're going to give him an extra day just as a precaution. Recently off the DL from an oblique injury.
Here is a 1-2. 2-2. Odorizzi started against Ruby De La Rosa, and that matchup won by the Boston right-hander, who goes 7 strong. Shut out for the Rays on 4 hits. And now ball 3, 93 from Wilson to make it a full count. Alex ready with another on 3-2 and a foul straight back.
Molina still looking for his first RBI of the year. In fact, the catcher position, Molina and Hannigan primarily, real trouble spot for Tampa Bay. Cardinal pitchers have scored more runs than Rays catchers this year.
Here's a 3-2, a hard hit, diving catch made by Bogarts. 2 out. And we've seen some defense here tonight.
This ball is a bullet. Well, he's going to third base in a couple of days, and that's a third baseman's play. Step in a dive. React to it. Get yourself low to the ground.
Well, the base is empty. It'll be DeJesus, who's 0 for 3. David has grounded out twice, struck out. Trying to keep the top of the 8th inning alive. An inning that's featured an inside the park home run by Kevin Kiermaier. That's low. 2-0. Here we are at Fenway Park. The Rays are here. Don Zimmer, part of the organization, as a senior baseball advisor, recovering from a heart procedure. One of the most beloved men in the game. As DeJesus hits one deep into left, this ball's going to go off the wall. Barehanded play by Gomes, and safe with a double is DeJesus. Just ahead of the tag.
This is a great play by Johnny Gomes. He has the deep there as if it's going to be caught. Bare hand grab, perfect position, great throw. Just beats the tag. DeJesus giving the umpire a little bit of help.
And a good call. Umpire is Tom Woodring. Third base coach Tom Foley is wearing the number, honoring Don Zimmer, who, whether when he was a manager here at Fenway or with Chicago or you name it, relied on instinct. He trusted his eyes, and his eyes seldom let him down. And as he recovers from a heart procedure with his great wife Soot by his side, thinking of him on a night here at Fenway Park. With 2 out, Zobrist takes a ball. It's 1-1.
Not sure, Joe, if I've been around anybody who loves the game more than Don Zimmer in any kind of capacity. Player, coach, manager, advisor.
Over 65 seasons in pro baseball. Diving stop. We've seen defense on both sides. And now it's Carp with a backhanded stop to his right to rob Zobrist. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Red Sox up 6. Fox is sponsored by Squarespace. Create your own website at squarespace.com. And by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.com for details. Here's Herrera. Ramos back to work. 2 bounces to Longoria. 1 out. Fans follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay scores, stats, audio, free MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Download at the App Store or visit MLB.com today. Ramos is giving innings to take the load off this heavily worked bullpen for Joe Maddon. He took over in the 4th and is working in his 5th inning as the batter is Brock Holt, who's had 2 hits, including his first big league home run, strike 1.
Yeah, Ramos went to spring training competing for the 5th spot in the rotation, won by Odorizzi. So he's stretched out enough. Hot chocolate? It's almost June.
And necessary.
Yes, it is.
Windy, chilly night at Fenway Park as the count evens at a ball and a strike. We came in talking about, at least I said it, and I think you agreed with me in the open, it was more a matter of when, not if, there'd be retaliation by the Red Sox. Have not seen that here tonight after last night with what went on with David Price and David Ortiz in the 1st inning.
Yeah, I think the game has kind of dictated that. I'm not sure what is left over. Certainly something is left over between David Price and David Ortiz. Between these 2 teams, I'm not so sure if there's any loose ends that needed to be in play tonight.
Well, it was really more personal last night for David Price. I think you and I both agree, Kenny Rosenthal as well, with Joe Maddon when he said what happened between those 2 in the 1st inning had nothing to do with last Sunday down in Florida with Escobar taking 3rd base. It was more David Price upset with Ortiz with the way he reacted on his second home run last year during the playoffs off Price here at Fenway.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people thought it was just manager speak coming from Joe Madden to say there was no carryover from Sunday to Friday, but he was absolutely 100% correct.
That is a foul tip, hung on to for strike 3. Here's David Price today.
It didn't bother me, to be honest. It just didn't bother me. I know I'm not going to have respect from everybody, and that's okay. You know, I learned a long time ago, not everybody's going to respect you, not everybody's going to like you, and that's part of it.
Now, you said earlier that you gained respect from a lot of people within the game, that you heard from a lot of people within the game after last night. Why do you think that was?
I mean, it's just the way he's been, I guess. You know, it's just nobody's bigger than the game of baseball. And sometimes the way he acts out there, he kind of looks like he's bigger than the game of baseball. And that's not the way it is. That's not the way it goes. And I definitely had tremendous amounts of respect for Big Papi. He's probably going to go down as the greatest DH to ever play this game. And for somebody like that, I feel like you have to have respect for that person. But, you know, I guess that's how it goes.
Well, there'll be a reaction to that, no doubt, with what was said. That's this evening before the game, talking to Ken Rosenthal. David Price, the heels of hitting David Ortiz last night, talking about the appearance that sometimes he thinks he's bigger than the game.
Well, I think there'll be an attempt to get a reaction, Joe. I mean, there certainly will be a crowd at David Ortiz's locker after this game. I'm not so sure he's going to play along at this point.
Here's a pop-up off the bat of Bogarts. Good work by Ramos as he gets through the 8th. We go to the 9th inning. Last chance for the Rays, down by 6. Ninth inning rolls in, and we look back at the start by Ruby De La Rosa. Outstanding here tonight. Could not have been any better. The Game Changer profile brought to you by T-Mobile, official sponsor of Game Changers. The numbers are great. 7 innings, no runs, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks, 105 pitches on the night. And he was in charge from the first inning when he struck out 2 of the 3 he faced.
8 strikeouts, 3 of those looking, many swinging on his secondary pitches, the changeup and the slider.
Shift is on in the infield for Matt Joyce, who's 0 for 3 and takes a ball outside. Boston with a win here tonight will stay 6 out, but climb to within 3 games of the 500 mark, while Tampa Bay will be 9.5 out and 10 games under 500.
And they're staring at a season-long 5-game losing streak with the expected outcome tonight.
Joyce is grounded out twice, struck out. That was against De La Rosa. And inside the park home run, the only run. Kiermaier got it, leading off the 8th. Count 2-1 from Alex Wilson. Second inning of work for the right-hander, and a foul back evens it.
Saw Torey Lovullo right there next to John Farrell. One of 4 managers the Red Sox used last night in the first 6 innings of the game. And he gave us one of those old-fashioned manager ejections. Torey spiked his cap. You know, with instant replay, we don't see enough of those anymore.
Here's a 2-2. Just outside a full count.
So thank you, Torey.
They went Farrell, Lovullo, Butterfield, Colburn.
I said to Colburn today, undefeated. He's will retire. Undefeated as a manager, 1-0.
3-2 pitch is popped up. Left field. Gomes coming in. 1-out. Time for the King play of the day, brought to you by Burger King. It's the first Major League home run for Brock Holt. Celebrating on his way to second base, a 2-hit game, a good defensive play, really 2. One that was outstanding to rob Sean Rodriguez back in the second with 2 on and 2 out. He's really played well. And with 1 out, here's Longoria, shot into left center. Bradley is back, still in the ball game. He's got out number 2. Took a baseball off the nose last inning. Still in the game, and he showed off the speed, the range, the jump, going to make that play in left center for out number 2. Here's Loney.
I think he saw his cut man in between innings, stopping the blood flow in the nose when he was out there on defense. Now he's good to go.
Loney has one of the 6 hits tonight for Tampa Bay. He got it in the 7th. The double play ball followed off the bat of Jennings. And that was the end of the night for Ruby De La Rosa. He really showed something to the Red Sox with his first start at Fenway Park. Called up, took the spot vacated by Clay Buchholz on the disabled list. Turned in a gem. Here's a 1-0. 2-0.
I believe that base hit by Loney was the only changeup I saw that was above the knees by De La Rosa.
Our producer Pete Macheska, our director Bill Webb. As we work in the 9th inning, a 2-0 pitch. Loney takes strike 1. Wilson, another good young arm, the Red Sox feature. Brings it on 2-1. A strike away from ending this night. And making it official. A 6-game winning streak on the heels of a 10-game losing streak for the Red Sox.
And the first time in 3 games between these 2 teams, the benches did not empty.
Here's a 2-2. Full count.
If I told you 2 guys would get hit in the nose in this game, you'd think the Rays and Red Sox are at it again. Instead, it was the baseballs inflicting the damage.
On deflections. Here is a 3-2. Line drive, base hit into center. Loney 2 out of 4, and the game continues with Jennings coming up. It's nice if you're Boston, looking at a 6-game winning streak and being able to hand the ball tomorrow afternoon to John Lester, who is under 500, looking for a contract extension, but the leader of this rotation for the Red Sox.
Well, especially after seeing the stuff that De La Rosa brought to the mound.
Taking second uncontested is Loney.
It's one thing to get big league hitters out, but when you have the kind of stuff De La Rosa has, boy, that'll put a smile on everybody's face in that clubhouse.
Here's the 0-1. Strike 2. Red Sox win it 7-1. And they did it with a start from a guy called up from the minor leagues, Ruby De La Rosa. A lot of hitting and production from the bottom of their lineup. And it's a 7-1 win and now a 6-game winning streak for the Boston Red Sox.
Well, as many as things were going wrong for the Red Sox, they have turned around 180 degrees in these last 6 games.
There's a look at the AL East as we say so long from Fenway Park. A break coming your way and then off to the studio with Rob Stone. Red Sox win it 7-1. Good night.